I don't own the rights. Hello. Hi and welcome. Welcome. What am I calling this? Powers of two and three. Welcome to Powers of Two and Three, day three out of potentially three, but more than likely four. Jupiter and Libra, the convalescent, Four of Swords. I'm just shuffling. I'm doing a little pre-shuffle of the SKT. I've already shuffled the watermelon. Again, I have left the four base decks in the order that they were in. So four, three, two, one. There are four potential base decks, three energies, two powers, and one zodiac, or you, or me, or I guess the collective we, the one. Iced Coffee Chronicles, except it would be if it weren't already gone. So, if you notice the difference in the quality today, if it's noticeable, I found one of my webcams, and it's so interesting because uh, I don't know if this will play into any of the ones or not today. Also, if you're watching this live, again, like the past two, the live chat feature has been turned off. Every now and then, I turn it off for the intention of this is something that you like sit with yourself in presence of the divine or sit with the divine. However, it unfolds for you or resonates with you or aligns with you most or more specifically. I think sometimes when we see how it resonates for others, when it's communicated, it can skew how it resonates for us, the truth of how it resonates for us, because we end up taking on their lens. Now, I'm reading it, so I can't completely necessarily participate and eliminate myself from that. But, that is why the live chat is turned off. That's the intention behind it, to allow uh, space, the space between you and me that I am an intruder upon. So anyway, I found my webcam. I knew I had, so there was one that I had loose and one I had connected to the tripod. And I was like, I don't know where I put the loose one, but the one that was connected to the tripod should still be connected to the tripod. So like I'm looking in the room. Of course I don't see it. I haven't seen it. Excuse me. I was like looking in storage. I was like certainly I wouldn't have packed it. Right? Couldn't find it. And I've also been like craving water. Now I have a water filter, like a pitcher filter. And I get filters mailed, and I was just gonna use a filter and like just have the water filter into like a jug. I was gonna buy a jug, but I finally broke down because I've been needing the hydration. I finally broke down and got my pitcher filter. And in the box with the pitcher filter was the tripod, was the camera. So theoretically, if I would have gotten the pitcher filter a long time ago, like I wanted, I would have been found the webcam. But anyway, I found it now. So if you do notice a difference, maybe it's that. Maybe this is connected. Maybe when you're following water or a source of water or a bodily need, you find what you're looking for or more. So yeah, anyway, that's the story between I guess this. I just bought this from Walmart because I don't know. I wanted a different. I didn't want to use my old thing. I wanted a different. So anyway, that's how that happened. So before base decks, we have I also have three dice in here. There's a D4, a four-sided die, an eight-sided die, and a 12-sided die. A D4, a D8, and a D12. The D12 gives the zodiac, the D8 gives the base number, and the D4 decides which deck I pull for the base card. One is Notoria, two is Water Known Tights, three is a Water Known Alchemy, and four is the animated Fable Makers animated tarot, and it's a deck dungeon. So I'll look and see what the corresponding deck dungeon challenge is. And then I will pull the base number from the top. The cards are face down like this in a box. I also have them in their boxes. Um, Mostly to save space and room, but I guess if there's enough room for the box, there's enough room for the cards. But it keeps them corralled and nice and neat, and it keeps the energy of this deck that hasn't been used yet, like contained, even though it's open. It's like energetically, so, you know what I mean, or whatever. So yeah, I pull the number, we square it, and we do the cube. The square is U coded, so in the two. The cube is divine coded or a greater knowledge coded. The potential, what could be coded. And then the three energies, it's you, the divine, and then the energy of the space between you. The bridge, the connection, the collaboration, what have you. So I'm also timestamping these as I go. This is your reminder that timestamps on this channel are approximations, sometimes because the upload does weird stuff after I go live, sometimes because I honestly just forget and I don't feel like whatever. If it's too bad, more often than not, like I'll go back and I clean it up because every time I'm like, time stamps are approximations, there's a part of me that's like, really, Patrick? Like, you can spend however many minutes it takes to go back and find that timestamp. More often than not, I do. Um, but like if the timestamps, if I'm pretty close to them and I don't go back, I won't notice. Like I only know that Alive doesn't upload in full if I go back and watch it because I am here for the entire duration of this. I don't see what you see. So if this buffers and I lose 10 minutes, I'm not going to know. Or if it buffers and then it just cuts out, but the timer keeps running, so I think it's still live. Again, I'm not going to. Anyway, that is enough explanation. Let's get into it. We have all Aries, Virgo, Leo. Who was the fourth one? Scorpio. Aries, Virgo, Leo, Scorpio, Cancer, Taurus, Sagittarius. I believe those are the seven that we've done. So we have five left. Cool. All right. So pick it up and kind of roll them around to make sure they're actually like they're not just sliding. And I'll take the entire combination. Gemini. So Gemini is also going to be from the Notoria, and your base number is 4. So if you're curious, Gemini, um, I was actually kind of just about you, mostly because of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is your opposite. So let me timestamp Gemini. I'm gonna say 8:15. Um, I was thinking of Sagittarius and their opposition. Not their opposition. I was thinking of Sagittarius and I think Jupiter and Gemini, 8 of Swords. And how Sagittarius came out with an energy. First it was anecdotal. And then it was like Sagittarius is like broadening and expanding and not being so narrowly focused or minded that they can incorporate more. And it was through the Jupiter of Pisces, but also the way that the Jupiter of Pisces could benefit Sagittarius is very similar to the way that Sagittarius could reconcile its Gemini opposition. And then I had a thought of like, well, are they all like that? And I didn't have time to complete the thought because it's almost like it's that same expansive instead of deepening instead of the deepening of Jupiter, it's the expansion of Jupiter. And the expansion of Jupiter is similar to the, I want to say, multiplicitousness or the multiplicity of Gemini and Mercury. Anyway, that's how you came up. So anyway, let's get into it. So first card off the top, no. Just kidding. The fourth card. One, two, three, four. Gemini, you are sitting at, oh, the Four of Wands. This is Jupiter and Aries, associations with Jupiter and Aries, and then it's the third angel. It's interesting. I didn't necessarily know what to expect when I feel like my back is like prickling. I don't know. Yeah, it feels like my back is like prickling and sticking to my shirt. Okay. That's weird. I didn't necessarily know what these would be, but so far, Scorpio and Sagittarius have had uh, Notoria angels. And for all three of you, it feels like this is a depiction of you in some way. Maybe that's not too strange. And the association with fire here is interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily all of the mutable signs, but there was something about Sagittarius that was being like channeled in a watery way. And there's something about the air of you that's coming in a fiery way. Now, Aries sextiles you, Jupiter opposes you through Sagittarius, but it feels like me, this is some kind of labor or work or training. You are getting comfortable with the utilization of your gift, which was also Sagittarian, but let's focus more on you, Gemini. Because it feels like you're assigned the task of lighting these four candles without using like a lighter or, and like this is you completing the fourth sort of candle. I don't know. Also, you are the third zodiac sign. This is the third angel. So interesting. Interesting. So 4, 16, 64. So we're gonna look for on the square, we're looking before and after the Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers. And then on the cube, we're looking before and after the Devil and the Wheel of Fortune. No, the Devil and the Emperor. The 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. The 6 is the Lovers. I just saw the Hermit at the time. High Priest and the Four of Wands. See, this is some like, this is the Four of Wands. This is the Four of Wands. It makes me think there are a few shows I've seen where there's like a some kind of aptitude test, or it's like there's someone that has some kind of power, gift, skill, ability, and you have to like turn on the light without flipping a switch, or light the candle without lighting the candle. I wonder if it's almost a combination of aptitude and there's like aptitude in terms of what you're best suited for. And then there's proficiency, I guess, in terms of how well you how developed you already are. And I guess it's just those two. Well, and then there's the actual completion of it. That's like this sort of third. I don't know. These have been all over the board. The Wheel of Fortune and the Four of Wands. That is the significator that I'm looking for you. The Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers. All right. From the bottom. Oh, that was the Lovers. I caught it this time though. So before is the Three of Wands and after is the Devil. What's interesting though is this is the significator of the cube. So we'll see how that unfolds as more or less than the significator of the cube. Now we're looking for the Wheel of Fortune. Just really quick, I have to mention it. The Magician and the High Priestess are looking at each other. They came one right after the other. I've also seen this as an aptitude, uh, as a measure, or kind of both, as a measure of aptitude and proficiency. That more so in like isekai anime. So in an anime where someone gets sent to a world where magic and like dragons and stuff like that is real. They go to the Adventurers Guild and there's a crystal ball. And you either put your hand on it or you channel energy into it, and it'll tell your aptitude, like what you sort of, and then it'll give you like your stat breakdown or like a number of stars or whatever. Like if it's green, then you're like a healer or something. Maybe that's also Ace of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Daughter of Pentacles. Maybe it's also there's a difference between aptitude and ability with the magician and the magician and the high priestess sort of staring each other down. The magician would be ability, high priestess would be aptitude. Before and after. The after you have the mother of cups. Sorry, the mother of pentacles and the father of cups. Now let's go to the other side. We're looking before and after the demon and the emperor. I believe Leo had a power for, which is your sextile. And again, there's something in your energy almost about playing to your sextiles to overcome the opposition. How's it feel? The Emperor is in between the Four of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles. Jupiter and Libra, Saturn and Taurus. Before, no, it's before. And then we have the Shining Winds, a Swirling Gale, and the Blind Seer. Two of Swords, Knight of Swords. This is interesting. No, before the card. So before is the wheel of life, which is your squared signifier. And then after is the defector eight of cups, which is Saturn in Pisces. So you have Saturn in Pisces trining Saturn in Taurus. Seven of Pentacles trining the Eight of Cups. Not trining, sorry, sextiling. Saturn sextiling itself between the energies of Pisces and Taurus. Now, Gemini, what's interesting was that you're in your element. Why, Patrick? Why is it interesting that I'm in my own element? Like, wouldn't I be? Well, you would be surprised what all these have been coming out. Who's in their element and or who like reads as their element and who doesn't. Because there have been some who are in their element, but their element as a function of other elements. Right. Like if you do multiple things, it was like, let's say you are a baker, a teacher, and a lawyer. And then there's like you. So instead of like it being you, it was like the baker, the teacher, and the lawyer. And you go like, oh, those are the elements of you. So you're here, but like broken down. Now, trying to calm down. So your base card was I don't even know the name of this. Sitael, the Four of Wands. Your base number was 4. On the 3 energies, you are sitting in the 3 of Wands and this Ace of Pentacles. The Divine or Other is sitting in the 7 of Pentacles and the 2 of Swords, the Gardener and the Blind Seer. The energy between you is the Devil, the Princess, sorry, the Daughter of Pentacles, the Shining Winds, and the Four of Swords convalescing. Now, these energies feel very similar. Are in your intuition and discernment, and you're following it. And I say that because it's like with the Three of Wands, you see this vision and you're doing practical things. Like you are doing what you need to see it be brought to life. And then on the side of the divine, it's the gardener and the blind seer. So like you not seeing or you not knowing, you not necessarily being told how everything is gonna work out, but you still tend to the things that you need to tend to anyway. Now it feels like I think that was the I think the ice, it was the melting ice. The ice melted and then it shifted and I heard a noise. Anyway. It feels like you aren't necessarily without doubt or worry or fear, but you're not allowing it to stop you. And again, I say that because of the blind seer that's on like the divine side of things, but also because of this like devil and daughter of pentacles here. It's like it doesn't matter or it's mattering less and less what comes up to your vision or any doubts, fears, or concerns, like you're going to keep doing what you need anyway. Now, this swirling gale, you see the glyph of Mercury on it. Mercury is your guiding planet. The Knight of Swords is mutable air, which is like you. Excuse me, Mercury in this deck, it's more like a universal Mercury, which means it has a certain vision. It's aware of the scale of things and of relative positioning. It doesn't necessarily see or know everything, but again, it feels like it plays into your ability to trust whatever your discernment and intuition is guiding you towards. So you could be like doing this aptitude proficiency test and not even know what you're being tested for. Maybe it's more so like do this, go here, do that, all of these other things. Maybe like you have been diving down several rabbit holes as you've been intuitively guided and maybe not necessarily seeing how it's all connecting. Because I almost would give Pisces more of the connection between things. And I'll give Mercury, especially in Gemini, it's like it's the collection of, and then it's like the more together, the clearer an image becomes. Get all of these different pieces. You may not necessarily know how they're connected, if they're connected. You may not even like yet believe or see that they are connected. But the more of them you get, the more of something you begin to see. So it's like at a certain point, the blindfold is going to fall off because the seed is going to sprout. If I gave you a mystery seed and you don't know what it is, you just plant it. And I give you like directions to tend for it because, like, well, is it a temperate plant or is it like a succulent? Because they require different things. Intuitively, you know how to plant, where to plant, and where what it requires. Eventually, when it sprouts and really begins to grow, you'll be able to more easily identify it, and the blindfold is going to come off. But again, the Two of Swords, it's like you are following whatever your intuition discernment is telling you. This is minor high priestess. We may not necessarily know the why, but we can still trust without having to know. And I forgot to grab this book. So maybe you're gonna have to go again, or maybe this is just like a clarifier of you like going and looking for the information. Usually I have it already set out, but today I forgot to take it. So anyway, let's get into it. Excuse me, Satael, God who instills hope in all creatures. Wow, the God who instills hope. I love that. And again, it feels like it naturally combats this devil energy. There's a hold it up. Citadel represents a powerful and uplifting will, capable of elevating and building the universe itself, depositing in our subconscious materials that will make positioning. No, sorry. I'm gonna start over. I'm just gonna start over. Satire represents a powerful and uplifting will capable of elevating and building the universe itself, depositing in our subconscious materials that will make our inner temple solid and harmonious before we can externalize it. It also it also allows access to important assignments as long as we do not falter, crushed by the weight of responsibility, or worse yet, abuse it tyrannically. Sitael spurs us so that the foundations of our subconscious are based on principles of generosity, magnanimity, nobility, and truth. Association and attributions to the Four of Wands, Aries, Jupiter, and the Seraphim, and also the number two. Excuse me. Maybe that. Maybe there's something with the magnanimousness of this and the delicacy of it. Because again, it said like it allows access to important assignments as long as we do not falter. Like maybe there's a reason why you don't know what you don't know, Gemini. And that could be for a number of reasons. It could call in questions of worth, almost like, but the worth here almost feels more like imposter syndrome. Like if you knew what it is, but this is the thing, like there's a vision that you are following. Your intuition and discernment is leading you on a path. And that's the thing about like life, or the thing about journeys, or the thing about us as we grow, mature, evolve, experience more life. We could receive a vision of where we're going to be or what we're going to be doing 2, 5, 10 years from now, and look at where we are now and focus on where we've been, and then go like, oh, well, like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not even blah, 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 whatever. But it's like, that's 2, 5, 10 years from now. Like, you're going to live more life. You're going to have more experiences. You're going to connect and network with more and more people. Who knows what opportunities are going to come your way? But it's like, in order to prevent any faltering or like imposter syndrome for something that like you're not even doing yet, or just imposter syndrome in general, it's like you're not being shown everything. Now again, it's that energy of things as things continue to grow, mature, evolve, blossom, sprout, grow, you're gonna see what it is. The blindfold is gonna come off. But right now, and I don't know if there's a recognition within you that maybe something that you don't know for a good reason. Because again, it doesn't feel like this devil energy is getting in the way. Even before I read the thing about you not altering, it didn't feel like this devil energy was getting in the way. It didn't feel like your doubts, worries, fears, and insecurities were stopping you from tending to the things that you need to tend to, because your faith, your belief, your trust is stronger. There is, I don't know if it's necessarily here or if it's just where my mind is going. A little bit of like a carrot on the stick type feeling, but it's more like you have an idea. It's the thing I was talking about with Gemini earlier, about how like the more pieces you get, the more you kind of sort of try to piece together. And so as you're collecting more and more and more pieces, there may be times when you try to like solve the puzzle Wheel of Fortune before you have all the letters. And blank E blank blank L could be a whole bunch of words. Like feral is the first thing that came. Feral is the first thing that comes to mind, but it's not feral. And like it's not fecal. It could be like a petal, Petal. You know what I mean? That's not feral or fecal. That's completely different. Then maybe you had a feral phase, and maybe you got a phase that you could say was kind of fecal because things just went to crap all over. But then it blossoms into this beautiful petal. The petal associated with the plant that is growing. Okay. That's like when you can tell what it is by its petals, or at least the family that it belongs to. But the carrot on the stick part of this is like there could have been parts where you go like, "Oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm being led here, so maybe it's this thing," and you go into that thing and maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe it's fecal or feral or whatever. But there's like something within that experience that you gain, or there's something that happens there. So it's not all for nothing. And again, maybe that's part of this, the aptitude in this. Maybe one of these candles you lit, like if something is fecal, right? And you light a candle to try to get rid of the smell or whatever, that was like one of these candles. Maybe something was feral and it required you to almost like be not hyper vigilant. It feels like Gemini is very savvy, um, tactical, like energy. It likes to like think a lot and plan a lot and come up with multiple plans. But there's also the part of Gemini that like doesn't just think about it, it also like does it. And maybe there was a little more like doing without thinking. And so maybe the Pharaoh candle was a situation where you learn to like be truly in the moment and to adapt on the fly and to make snap decisions. Now, again, that's not something that, or those aren't things that Gemini isn't already capable of doing, but that plays into the sextile of Aries, is to incorporate more Aries. Again, there's something about you that's incorporating sextiles rather than like the sister sign of Virgo or or an opposition or like a square or something. That's something about you that's playing to the sextile. Excuse me. And again, it's like it's something that you're already capable of doing, but maybe you like refine it so that then it's like it takes your decision making ability to the next level. Because it's like when you play chess and you can take as much time as you need before you make a move, it's a different kind of decision making than like, this is happening, you need to make a choice decision right now. Like, again, because it's like you don't have that much time and it gives you a certain dynamism. And it's a dynamism, again, it's like it evolves your decision making ability. It like shortens the process. And so then you'll reach a point where like you can need to make a snap choice decision, but still be able to think through it and not just like fly off the handle. You know what I mean? Or fly by the seat of your pants. You'll get to like integrate those two and it becomes an even greater strength. Right. So maybe by that point, when you become the CEO or whatever of a company, those experiences that you go through, they'll make you capable of making those choices and decisions. And maybe that's 2, 5, 10 years down the line. And now like you're still sitting at the chessboard taking an hour to think of your next move. And you're like, well, if it takes me an hour to come up with a choice or decision, how am I ever going to be at the point where I'm making choices and decisions of like an even larger magnitude with even less time? And again, like you're going to be different by the point that by the time that like happens. I need to stop like posing this. You're going to be different by the time that happens. Like again, it feels like you see enough. You're navigating your journey very, very, very well. And anything that you don't see or like don't know, it's almost for good reason. Father of Cups and the Eight of Cups at the bottom of these stacks. The Knight of Cups is behind this Eight of Cups. Knight of Cups is Pisces. Father of Cups is Scorpio. This is Saturn and Pisces. Yeah, well, Saturn and Pisces sextiling Saturn and Taurus. You also have the Moon in Libra and Jupiter in Libra. The Moon and Jupiter are both in Libra, which trine you. Um, the Moon and Jupiter in Libra feels like, again, as you continue to navigate, as you continue to grow with that trust in your intuition, the discernment, it becomes easier and easier and easier to allow doubt, fear, insecurity, anything that is devil energy to fall to the wayside. Um, and it gives you this like confidence in movement. The Knight of Swords is one of the fastest knights. It's a competition between the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands. Sometimes one is faster than the other. But it's like the Knight of Swords is so fast that it can't afford to falter, because it's like when you're moving at speed and when you're moving with that much momentum and like you trip or whatever, you're gonna like, you know, and like, it's not that you do that. It's just like there's a certainty in movement that attributes to the speed at which you can move. And the more certain you are, the more clear you are, the faster you can go. And again, it's not comparative speed, but it is related to something for you. Because like you're not a slow energy. You're not necessarily meant to be a slow person. But also at the same time, you're not meant to be a fool either. That's like Aries territory. No shade to Aries, but with like cardinal Aries, Aries is built that it can withstand it, you know? And it's not that you couldn't, but it's not how you move and operate. You borrow from the strengths of your sextiles, but you don't lose yourself. Excuse me. It's not about becoming someone else. Anyway, the Eight of Cups and the cup from this father that you don't even see, I guess, besides above it. This is a Nine of Cups energy, which is Jupiter in Pisces. But this is the ability to like make hard decisions. The Father of Cups is someone who is emotionally stable. And it's an emotional stability that is capable of being loving and nurturing when it's called for, but it's also capable of like giving some tough love when it's needed and not feeling bad about giving tough love. Like that's the stability of the Father of Cups. Like the Mother of Cups may say no, but like it'll eat her up on the inside. Like the Mother of Cups would hate to say no. The Father of Cups would be like, almost like it is what it is, you know? And not be completely dispassionate, not be emotionally detached from whatever, but to be stable enough to know that you can't. And it doesn't make you a bad person if you have to say no. It doesn't mean anything more than it has to, is the Father of Cups. And it makes it easy. It feels like it makes it easier to make this journey where sometimes you have to put space and distance between what is comfortable or what is familiar. Your journey is literally all about that. And again, it's in this in between you and the divine as you're sort of like healing from double energy, forging a new path with the Daughter of Pentacles, and then moving at speed with the Knight of Wands. And you can't move at speed with the Knight of Wands in this brand new direction when you're constantly sort of mentally going back and forth with like that double energy. So yeah. And I guess all the elements are here, right? We got fire and earth and air, earth, and then water at the bottom of like the water, I guess, is at the bottom of the decks, but there's still like, and again, like there was something about Sagittarius that looked, felt, manifested as water, but there's something about the way that you move that is water. There's a fluidity to your movement that is like water in your air. Like you already have fluid movement. So anyway, that's what I got. Interesting. Cool, love it. And and again, like no, it like though when you get wherever it is that you're going, like you're gonna know that you deserve it. You're gonna know that you earned it, or you're gonna know that you don't have to do any more to earn it. It feels like something about your path naturally, something about your path or the way that you navigate your path naturally reduces the depth of the pit of like imposter syndrome, right? And even if you do sometimes have a bout with imposter syndrome, it's like, well, look at what you're doing, what you have done, and what you can't do. Like, imposter is there. Like, you're literally doing it. You know what I mean? Type energy. Is that my thing? Type energy. Cool. Who's next? I'm gonna try to get through three today, and then three tomorrow. And the third one tomorrow will be collective. So if you see a fire kiss, I'm just gonna use it like for wands at the cut. I'm gonna use Ophiuchus as like the collective, but that'll probably be in the title. I'll say collective in the title. Cool. And then this goes at the bottom. Let's see who's next. I'm kind of feeling Pisces, kind of feeling Libra, kind of feeling Capricorn, kind of feeling Aquarius. That's all of them. Kind of feeling who's there's one I haven't named that I haven't done. We already did Leo. Leo, we've already done Leo. Like I literally just said. Leo was with the five and the three. So powers of five, that's 525, 125. And the third deck Alchemy. Leo might have come out with an information. Seven, Libra. Libra, Libra, Libra. Also the third deck of Alchemy, but with the power of two. I think whoever was after Taurus, Sagittarius, had a power of two, I believe. Pretty sure Sagittarius was the 248. Or was Sagittarius the 343? Was it the power of seven? Cancer might have been the power of two. No, Cancer was eight because they had the potential of the 512. So Taurus was the power of two? Taurus and Libra, so Venus coming out with the base of two? I think it was Taurus. I know Cancer had eight, and I think Sagittarius had seven. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Somebody had a power to yesterday. I don't know. It was either Sagittarius or Taurus. I think it was Sagittarius because for Taurus, I'm pretty sure it was the Fool and like the Fool had come out. Yeah, because Taurus was that like the instant before something happens. So Sagittarius had yesterday. Sagittarius Libra used. Anyway, does it matter that much, Patrick, that you have to timestamp? I'll say like 48 minutes because I've been like rambling, trying to figure out who had that power too. We'll say 48:14. This is your reminder, Sagittarius, that timestamps on this channel are approximations. Welcome to It Is What It Is Tarot, where it is what it is and it ain't gonna be what it ain't gonna be. Okay, let's get into it. So the second card, one, two, rotation, rotatio. I said Sagittarius. This is for Libra. Oh my gosh. Well, with rotation, maybe it's she's giving rotary energy, rotary phone. Because it's like it was Libra and then I ended up on Sagittarius, but it came back to Libra. Oh. LOL, sorry. Sorry, sorry, Libra, Libra, Libra. You know what? I'm gonna do that again. One, two. Melanosis, darkening. You get two cards. Because I'm pretty sure I called that first one for Sagittarius. That's why I gave you a second. This is 69 and 12. So there's a 693 in there. Or 9. Excuse me. 693. The 9 drops out. 6 was 3, it's 9. So that's what, probably 18. The second 9. Anyway. It's just such an interesting energy. So 2 is the high priestess that we're not going to look for because we're doing the square. 4 is the emperor. 8 is yeah, Sagittarius. I'm pretty sure had the 2 yesterday. Um, Looking for the emperor and the force. In some decks, it would be, oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's part of this rotatio rotation. And if I was using this deck to look for the cube, I would be looking for you, justice, because justice in the world unknown is 8. 8 is the cube of 2. But I'm using the Spirit Keeper's Tarot for the cube, which means we're looking for strength. Now, most decks I own, I feel like have 8 strength, 11 justice. But within this specific circumstance, it's a 50-50. One deck has a strength 8, the other deck has a justice 8. And again, it feels like it's something about this rotary energy. Like it was Libra, but it turned up to Sagittarius. And now it's like on the cube, it's going to turn down to Leo. I guess if we consider your zodiac symbolism, it would be a teetering scale. Now, a teetering scale, it feels like the scale teeters because of impatience. If you give the scale enough time, the teetering will stop and it will come to rest. And maybe there's not a ding, it's a maybe a warning of correction. Like it feels like that's what keeps the scale from being able to find balance because you'll put something on one side and it'll teeter. And like you're like, oh well, it's tending to this side, so let me put something on the other side, and then it starts to teeter more. It's like it never settles, so you never know what something needs. It's almost like if you go to a restaurant that you've never been before and you add some kind of seasoning or spice, assuming that the chef didn't use enough. And like before you get your dish and before you even taste it, you're already adding things because you just know that they didn't add enough because they never add enough. And then you add way too much. Now, there's a question of awareness. Would you have the awareness to go, I added to this before I even tasted it, so I ruined the dish, ruined. Or Would you go like, "Oh, they messed up in the back. They added way too much of whatever." And it's like, yeah, but if you would have tasted it, you would have seen where the balance is, and then you would have been able to better correct it. But just going in blind without even tasting it, like you have a part to play in it. The fool is at the bottom of the deck. So maybe it would be foolish to add the seasoning, the fool and the lovers, um, before you even taste it. Because that's operating under the assumption that something is as it always has been. And as long as you continue to operate under the assumption that something is as it's always been, does that stand in opposition to allowing for things to change? But without it necessarily going that far, there's something about like needing to wait for something to settle. I feel like in my mind, honestly, though, I'm seeing like someone stepping onto the scale, and it's one of those old scales with the weights that you move, and it keeps going like up or down. But also, for the scale to be swaying like this, it means that like you're really, really, really close to things sort of equaling out. Because if it were a drastic difference, it would like tip one way or the other. It wouldn't be like, you know. So there is something here that is fine tuning. Anyway, all right. The four, the hermit and the hierophant. Interesting. Interesting duo. The hermit and the hierophant is interesting because it's the non-Taurus earth sign. The Ace of Pentacles has turned over. I'm looking before and after cards, so the Ace of Pentacles isn't one of my clarifiers. We'll see how it reads. Looking for four, which is the Emperor. The Emperor is. I don't remember. Why can't I call to mind the image of the Emperor? It's a tree, the solar eclipse tree. That's what it is. I was looking for like an animal. And then I had to think of the Empress to get the Emperor. So before the Emperor is the Father of Swords, fixed air Aquarius. And then you have your Emperor. And then it's the Nine of Swords, which is more Aquarian. Before is the Eight of Wands. After the after is the Wheel of Fortune. It looks like the Ten of Wands is behind the Wheel of Fortune, but we won't know. From the imagery, it looked like it, but if you're comfortable with not knowing for sure what's behind the Wheel of Fortune, close your eyes. Don't watch. I'm going to reveal what is behind the Wheel of Fortune. If you need to know what's behind the Wheel of Fortune, you will see. Ooh. I sh- I shouldn't have given a reaction. If you were comfortable with not knowing, remain comfortable in that not knowing. Don't go based off of my reaction to what was behind the Wheel of Fortune. Trust what you already knew. If you couldn't trust what you already knew and you've already looked, maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. Now we're looking for eight, the force, strength. Ooh, the joined one, Two of Cups just flipped out. Again, I'm looking before and after. So we'll see. Oh, cool. Before the Wheel of Fortune is the Reaper, death. Not the Wheel of Fortune, before the Force. And then we have the Force. And after the Force is Sacred Cinnabar, the consummating. This is interesting. Before is the Tower, material and spiritual colliding, Mars. After the after is Sacred Fire, Ace of Scepters, the Awakening. The Awakening and the material and physical colliding. It's interesting because they're both like fiery energies. The Tower and the Wheel of Fortune, that is Miss and Jupiter energies. Mars is Scorpio, Aries, Jupiter is Pisces, and Sagittarius. So you got Aries, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Pisces, two fire and two water. That's interesting. Anyway, so your base cards comes from the alchemy and it's a duo. The four is two, and two is the four squared. It's rotation and darkening, rotatio and melanosis. The three energies that you have are you and the energy of the Ace of Pentacles. No, sorry. You and the energy of the Father of Swords, the divine and the energy of the Ace of Swords. Between you is the Nine of Swords and the Reaper. Is a vision of death and death. Okay. Give me a second. Libra. Let's take a moment. Let it settle. So I'm gonna resituate myself. I'm gonna drink some wine. I almost want to test your patience. Honestly. I want to test your because again, it was that thing of impatience, not fully allowing for things to settle before corrections are made, and because it continues to happen, it's like thing never finds its balance. Because before then, you're already like trying to adjust or trying to do this or trying to do, and it's maybe the thing. It's your own doubt, worries, fears, and insecurities that could be working against you. Because the Father of Swords is so knowledgeable and so not still, not stagnant, not stationary, steadfast. It's so knowledgeable and so steadfast in that knowledge and knowing that like it can make these choices and that's the energy you bring. But it's almost like as things continue to balance out or as the equilibrium is being found, the reason impatience rises is because of this Nine of Swords. And if it even looks like it's going to go whatever way, you're already trying to correct for it. If it looks like it's going to fall far on one side, you're already putting more weight on the other side to like, and maybe it's a question how things balance, right? Because maybe your way of balancing the scales is to add weight, but you could also balance the scales by reducing it, right? So instead of putting more weight on this side to make it heavier to get this side to rise, If you want this side to rise, you could always reduce the weight and it would have the same effect. And in that way, you wouldn't necessarily have to do this like back and forth type thing. You could almost like stay where you are. Almost. Again, it's a metaphor. How it resonates, if it resonates for you specifically or not. And if it don't resonate, don't take it. But if it does, like it may resonate for you in a way that's different from some other person who it also resonates for. It could be in a different it could be a different arena, a whole bunch of different stuff. Again, the intention is that with the light chat off, it's between you and the divine. And hopefully Patrick is so far off the mark that if it is resonant or supposed to be, you can find where you're going. And again, you don't have to lean on the opinions and experiences of others to get where you're going. But it seems like there's this fear that sort of creeps in with the Nine of Swords that like has the potential to sabotage the entire thing. Because on the other side of this is death. And again, it's like it's a vision of death and then it's the Reaper. And maybe like you fear the Reaper. And so you try to do something to like keep the Reaper away. But the Reaper may be the very thing that delivers what it is that you're looking for in whatever way. And so again, it's that sabotaging energy. Like the Reaper energy could be coming in to like help things reach an equilibrium. But again, like, oh, it looks like it's not going the way that I want. So let me do something. Let me do something. It's like it's I don't know. On the other side of this is the consummating sacred cinnabar. And again, in order for the scale to be this unpredictable, it something has to be close to being balanced. If it wasn't, the scale would immediately and drastically show the difference. The scale wouldn't waver if it wasn't close. 69 and 12. I'm gonna read 12 first. Oh, open right to it. Melanosis, darkening. In alchemy, darkness is an achievement. It indicates the material has been through a significant occurrence, sometimes called an initiatory experience, that has brought it into a state of readiness for the work. The darkness prepares us. We've moved beyond the small talk and chit chat of the upper world and descended into the psychic layers of the soul. We admit who we are fully and bravely, and thus open ourselves to the process of transformation. When this card appears, it's not necessary to delve into what brought you here, the initiation that has caused the embers to charm. Rather, it's time to heal, and darkness is the remedy. Closing your eyes is a voluntary expression of darkening. By practicing it daily, we drop into the depths and surrender. As the alchemist's eye adjusts, transformation begins. So maybe there's something that Libra and all of its pursuit for balance just can't surrender. Well, you're practicing, you're good. Or not. Take it as it resonates. Or maybe you've already mastered it and you know how to surrender and you're capable of allowing things to balance out before you work your Libra magic. And you allow things to settle before you work your Libra magic and bring it to some kind of balance. Again, take it as it resonates. 69. Rotatio. Yeah, there it is. I was like, wait, is this 49? Did I read it wrong? Rotatio, the wheel, monotony, and cycles. You also have the wheel fortune at the bottom of this. And you also know what's behind the wheel of fortune if you know. Rotatio is the great alchemical operation of the wheel. Through its through its circularity, it indicates that work performed again and again and again produces results. It reminds us our efforts are cumulative, not singular, nor is the work ever fixed or finished. Rather, the alchemist rises each day to tend to the laboratory, to weave their work into the world. It is the epitome of the alchemical axiom, eadem mutata resurgo. Although changed, I arise the same. This operation is expressed through images of the circle, the spiral, the Ouroboros, and the wheel. By its non hierarchical shape, we are tossed back into the spin just when we thought we had figured it all out. Though this stage can be frustrating and cause a fair amount of restlessness, it is at the heart of all spiritual practices. Taurus at the Ouroboros yesterday as their alchemical base. Taurus is on the other side of Venus from you, but you're not going towards Taurus. Again, there was something that like it's trying to use the sextiles, or it's using the sextiles of Sagittarius and Leo. And I can see why. There's something about the warmth and vitality of fire that makes it desirable to slash for this Nine of Swords energy that you can sort of like maybe fall into sometimes. And maybe this Ace of Pentacles, Two of Cups is like what you're trying to maintain, attain, or reach, or maintain. Abyssus, Abyssum, and Wokat, the depths of you call to the depths of me. It's like Libra has this noble pursuit, but it can't see it. Libra has a noble pursuit, but may struggle to see it through because Libra can't accept the totality of what something is. There's a sun and a moon on that wheel of fortune. It's not always going to be sunny. And through Libra's aversion of the dark with this darkening, it's like as soon as things look like they're about to turn a certain way, Libra is trying to correct it and bring it back to the light, bring it back to the sun, bring it back to something that is pleasant and nice and ethereal. But it's almost like it's because it's the in the Two of Cups, how it came out here, and it's this deck in particular, the depths of you call to the depths of me. The depths of one calls to the depths of others or another. And in the depth of something, in the totality of something, it's gonna be more than just one thing. And so it's almost like, for example, let's say there's like Libra and another person. Excuse me, there's someone who like really wants to invest in Libra. And there's someone that Libra also wants to invest in. And like Libra always wants for things to be happy or whatever. So whenever something comes up, again, not letting things fully settle, maybe someone can't fully communicate whatever. and Libra's already like trying to make it brighter. But for the person on the other side, like because we all have that person may feel like, why can't you be present with me when I'm not? Whatever. It almost makes Libra come off as very fair weather. But again, with the Two of Cups here, it's like the depths, the fullness of one calls to the fullness of another. Sometimes we have to be able to endure or see what we don't want and be present in full authenticity and honesty in order for things to change in the way that we do want them to. As we go from day to night to day to night, we don't cut the night in half. We don't rewind time to when the sun will shine. As soon as the sky begins to darken, you have to allow the night to pass. But conversely, on the other side, when the night does pass, you have to allow for the daytime. And again, I don't know, there's something, and I mean, we're all human, none of us are perfect. But the Father of Swords it feels like the Father of Swords is knowledgeable enough to know this. So then it's not a matter of knowledge, maybe it's a matter of discipline or allowance. And maybe to resist the darkening is also to resist healing. And so maybe with this rotatio, it feels like this merry-go-round, this loop. It's this spiral that we just keep going around and going around and going around and never necessarily breaking free. But again, it feels like it's almost like there's this point that Libra keeps like trying to avoid or avoiding. And because of that, something never reaches like a full conclusion or a full cycle closure. Because death is moving forward in the direction of the light. See, trying to like, there you go. In the direction of the light, death is moving forward. And it's interesting because it's the passage to initiation, and darkening mentioned initiation. I feel like non-specific Libra is asking me, but like, haven't I allowed for death? Like I've done this and I've done that, and it's not a question that you can ask for anyone else. It's between you and the divine. I don't know. Your life. You know, why can't I open this with my right hand? I gotta use my left hand to get the leverage. I guess I don't get enough leverage this way. I think it's the grip. Can get a better grip. Well, I say that and now I'm like struggling. Anyway, the consummating is the coming together of things, and that's what the divine wants, or that's the space of this uh energetic divine here. I always look at the distance between the crown and the hilt or crossbar, because this is where we hold the sword. If the crown is like all the way up here, that can be information that flies over our heads. But when it's this close, that's like information that we can like analyze, work with. And again, maybe it's this rotary energy of like the crown is like going up and down the blade. And it's like as soon as the crown is like about to click, it's almost like the crown clicks into place. It's like when the crown clicks into place, when the crown clicks into place, it opens up as like this flower or whatever. It's like the blades open up to reveal like a flower. Like these are the petals of a flower that are like closed. I can get it straight. There you go. It's closed. And clicks, it's like something opens up. But again, it's something like that last again, it's like as something is like about to balance out, about to reach equilibrium. I don't know, it's like this nine of swords freak out. Maybe with this father of swords, there's an attachment to a certain idea of what something is or has to be. Again, maybe going back to the relationship, maybe in Libra's mind, the model of a healthy relationship is one where there's never any challenge or obstacle or darkness or difficulty ever. It's always whatever all the time. And so that's why when things start to turn in a certain way, Libra is like trying to force it back to center. And that works for some things. For some things, it doesn't work. Maybe, again, take it as it resonates. Maybe Libra is in a situation where things are like never sort of at center. And so it falls on Libra to balance something out, to allow it to reach some kind of conclusion, for it to move forward into some kind of truth. And this is almost like the source of that light, this sacred cinnabar. That again, it's what the Reaper is following. The Reaper is going to the Sacred Source, it's traveling to the source. And again, not justice. This isn't an eight of justice. This is the eight of strength. It's the North Node. It's almost like inherently challenging and difficult. If it were justice, maybe it would read more like it's something that balances itself out. But because this eight is strength, it's something that we either have to encourage or allow. And this strength card, they're kind of like fighting each other. Like the lion knows that whatever this is good for it, but just because the lion knows that it's good for it doesn't mean that it's like not going to respond to the pain. You know what I mean? Or whatever, or the force. So, I don't know. There's something that's almost very Libra becomes the preserver of that which it doesn't wish to experience through its actions. Somewhat not, I don't want to say misguided, because it doesn't feel like the guidance or the knowledge or anything like that is the problem. Again, it's more so just like before something can settle, Libra is like messing with the balance. That's what I got for you, Libra. I believe in empowering you so much so that you make your own choices. In this. I have no input. I'm not gonna ask, and I don't know how to like bring something to balance or what can I do to stop like messing. I don't know. And I feel like again, because the Father of Swords is here, it's almost like there is no additional knowledge or information or technique or whatever that you can be told to help you do whatever. It all comes down to not letting this Nine of Swords energy put you in a place of trying to do something that you end up like messing it up. Like it reminds me of like That's So Raven or that one show on Netflix or like even in God of War Ragnarok with the Norns. It's the energy of prophecy and how someone like receives a prophecy that they don't want. And so they spend so much time, energy, and effort trying to prevent the prophecy from coming to pass, but they end up causing it. And after the fact, it's like, man, well, if I wouldn't have done this or if I wouldn't have done that, then it would have naturally. Like things would have naturally been different. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't resonate for anybody. you know, some of these have been. I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are on our paths and journeys, and we're moving in whatever direction we're moving. Like I remember back in the day, I would come across some twin flame video or whatever, and it was always like, oh, the divine masculine is so far behind the divine feminine, and the divine feminine is just waiting for the divine masculine to catch up. But it's like you don't know what the masculine's work is. You don't know what the masculine's journey is. And because the divine feminine is so intuitive or connected or so spiritual in a very ethereal mental way, she can see herself as farther or more evolved than the divine masculine. But it's like the divine masculine could literally be on their last step. And maybe their intuitive discerning connection is something that's more like physical practical. It's not something like in the cloud. Maybe they have an intuitive movement. And so the feminine who was in the cloud could look at the masculine that is like in the field, being like, oh, well, they're not even connected. They're not even this and they're not even that. And that was step one. For me, it was step one. First, I had to come to whatever. And then I did all these things. And like literally for him, he operates in a different way. He is so at one with his intuition that he doesn't have to be in the cloud to move with it, to move with his discernment. His body naturally follows it. And if that's the feminine's gauge of where the masculine is, she's doing herself a disservice and him a disservice. But doing a great job of elevating herself to a point and position where apparently she feels comfortable not doing nothing, waiting for somebody else to catch up. And then what does that leave her? Where does it leave her? How is this related to Libra? It's just like people's journeys are different. Maybe it plays into that whole thing too of like just because you have a vision of something and according to your vision of something and you knowing what you know, you think it has to play out in a certain way. And so when things naturally play out in a way that's contrary, and you believe that it's not happening, so now you're doing this and that and all kinds of other stuff to try to put it back on the right track again, not maybe realizing if it is resonant, maybe not realizing that that's not the path or journey of the thing on the other side of the scale. It doesn't move or operate in the same way. And so again, it's the correction becomes metal and it stops it from bouncing out. That's when our certainty can play against us. And maybe that's the thing too. The certainty of the Father of Swords is actually working against the balance that Libra is seeking to create, maintain, or exist within. And maybe that certainty is what keeps the crown from locking into place and from whatever from the sword like blossoming. I don't know. I've never seen that sword as a flower, but it looks that way today. But I think that's the thing with Libra too. It's the thing about being like to be Leo and associated with creativity is whatever. To be Sagittarius and associated with like knowledge is whatever. But to have an association to balance, but to be a living human that has only known or experienced what you've known or experienced, who has only thought what you've thought, or who only knows what you've been exposed to, and there's a whole world outside of it. How can you play balance when you only experience things from your point and perspective, from what you already know? And you can play balance for something that you've never experienced before. Then it requires a certain openness. And you, again, like you can't be so quick to continuously try to balance the scales unless you want what you've already had. Because again, you wouldn't know until you tried the dish. what the chef is like, you know? It's like if you have a spice tolerance and you go somewhere and you don't expect for the food to be spicy because maybe a lot of people don't have a spice tolerance, but the food is actually spicy. You know what I mean? Has that ever happened to you? If you don't like spicy food, maybe not. Maybe you've had the opposite experience where, you don't like spicy food and you go somewhere and you have something and you think it's going to be tolerable and mild because it's always tolerable and mild, but you got a chef in the back with a heavy hand that loves spice. I was in a I went to catch up. I did lunch with one of my friends last week, and we went to this Vietnamese place that was so good. The first time it was questionable. When we went in person, it was so good. And somebody asked the chef, because he was up front asking people, like, how was it? How is it? She was like, do you do anything like vegetarian? And he was like, no, I eat meat. And she was like, yeah, but like, can you make this without meat? He was like, I eat meat. I love meat. So his thing was like, apparently, I eat meat. I cook meat. I put meat in everything I cook. If you want vegetarian, you can go somewhere where they serve vegetarian. I'm not the chef for you. Now, I know some people may have gotten into a whole whatever over that. I'm not here to argue whether it's right or wrong. But again, it's like that's the chef in the back. That's the establishment that you're at. And so also sometimes too, it doesn't necessarily serve, it's not necessarily productive to go into an environment or situation that is not catered to you to demand a whole bunch of stuff from a chef who's stubborn AF, who's not going to comply with your culinary desires. If you really want a vegetarian dish, maybe you're going to have to go somewhere where they serve it, you know? And again, it's like there's no amount of balancing in that situation that's going to bring something that's going to give you the result that you desire, Libra. But also, too, if you've had so many experiences with chefs that love meat and so they don't cook vegetarian, don't let it jade you to the point where you don't even ask if you go somewhere new. It's like you can ask and be disappointed, or maybe you don't want to be disappointed anymore, so you don't even ask. I don't know your life. I don't know your journey. Anyway, but yeah, she was like, "Well, can like, do you do this? Can you do that? Can you do whatever?" And he was like, "I eat meat." He was like, "Mm-mm, I don't do vegetarian." I was like, and of course, I'm thinking like, I mean, yeah, can you just like not add something? But also, I'm not a chef. I don't know the culinary balance of fats, oils, flavors, spices, and stuff like that. So maybe it's an oil in one of the meats that does whatever, or if it's a fat from one of the meats that adds a certain flavor that does whatever to the point where if you just cut it out, it's like cutting something out does more than just remove the presence of the thing that you don't want. It also removes everything that it brings, right? So like the fats, the oils, the flavors, the like if something is oil or fat soluble, without those fats, the spices won't break down. And so they're not gonna like they're gonna sort of stick out more. They're not gonna blend together. It's like it's a whole thing in the culinary world. And again, maybe he's just more knowledgeable. He is far more knowledgeable. And maybe he didn't take the path, doesn't have the desire to like or the time because he's like the chef at this place um, to reformulate all of the recipes, especially when like if you want that, you can go out and find it. I don't have to cater to something that you can find. You know what I mean? But again, like that's the thing about balance when it comes to things outside of us. We can do whatever we want within ourselves and within our own lives. But when it comes to incorporating someone else, maybe your values, beliefs, whatever align, maybe it won't. I don't know. Whoa. Sometimes you just gotta breathe it out. 6. We've already done Virgo. Ooh, but now Virgo's wanting in on the angel cards with the power of 1. I don't know how that works. Wait, no, 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 no. If we went up to 10, 10 squared would be a 100. Oh, wait. Try again. Sagittarius. No, we've already done it. Capricorn. Ooh, the 4th deck with the power of 7. I'm going to go to the restroom before I start Capricorn. So, all right. So I had paused to see if Chino would come through, but he didn't. Chino's looking. He walked away. Anyway, Capricorn 137.40. Capricorn. Capricorn 137.50. 137.50. Do 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 do. Okay. Capricorn again, you have 4 and 7. Somebody else had 7. I think it was Taurus. Pretty sure it was Taurus with 343. Somebody else had 7 too. Was it Virgo? No. Yeah. No. Scorpio. Scorpio had the 343. I believe. I believe it was Scorpio, Taurus, and now you Capricorn. 343. No Halo. There you go. Some say Halo was the best when Bungie was in charge. So the 7th card from the 4th deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Magician. Wait, Capricorn, wait. I was gonna be like, man, now I gotta pull out my phone and get to the deck dungeon challenge, and I don't have it already pulled up, so I'm gonna have to. There are only challenges for the minor arcana. There are no challenges for the major arcana. Now, something about you almost feels like it's connected to Gemini because Gemini had an aptitude and proficiency, but you feel more like you're in the space of practicing. Potentially, you're in the space of practicing and developing, and depending on how this resonates for you, maybe you've already mastered. And there's a difference between practicing for the novice, the adept, and the master. Like when it comes to the novice and the adept, it feels like practice is something that gets it from one stage to the other. You get better. But when it comes to the master, practice is like working, right? Like someone who is a practicing physician, they're not still trying to become licensed or certified. Like they are fully certified and they're actively working. For the master, practice is active work, right? I'm a practicing whatever. You know, I don't know what I would be a practicing. I'm a practicing yip yapper on the internet. Yes. I don't know. There's something like the practice of the magician is work. Sagittarius was also in a very similar space. Sagittarius was practicing around the master. There was part of Sagittarius's practice that was like honing, developing, refining, collecting experiences, but there was also a part of Sagittarius energy practice. Well, yeah, okay. So to reset. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. This is your card. You have an edition, and you can see everything wiggling and shaking and moving, and you're not as distracted by the card back because I'm using a better camera. So 749 is death and the hermit. That's the square of seven. 343, the cube is the fool, death, and the empress. The hermit and the chariot at the cut. Love that energy. All right, Capricorn. Let's see. Oh, no. Again, death and the hermit. Okay, no. I thought I saw the hermit for a second, but the hermit was at the cut. So before the hermit is the Ten of Pentacles, the hermit. After the hermit is the tower. I almost put it on the deck. Now we're looking for nine. So, no, death for 40. Yeah, the 40 of death. Oop. The Empress, death, and pause. Wow. Before is the Nine of Swords. After the after is the Ten of Cups. Even before I looked at the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Cups, it was like something with like the Ten of Pentacles and the Empress, and then this Five of Cups over here. Something was just like you can't take everyone or everything with you. You can't take everything or everyone with. Maybe it's because you're sitting in the space of the magician too. Maybe you become really adept, if not reached a certain master in your own life. You've become accomplished in some way, and there are people that you love, care about, people that you come across who who aren't accomplished in the ways that they want to be, and you want to help them because you're like kind and generous and loving like that. But maybe there's something that you realize or recognize and that like you can't help them. And maybe it is you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Maybe it's just like you don't have the particular skill set, knowledge, expertise. In whatever way, it's like it feels like you're in a position where you can do a lot, or you feel like you can do a lot, but there are those who you feel like you can't do anything for, or much of anything. And that's this almost like really solid within yourself. But oh, and Pacifica, she's one to declare it. But like you wish you could do more for more people. And looking for the first four we see, the initiate, the seeker, or the keeper, death, and the empress. Gotta remind myself sometimes. Or often. Honestly, often. I gotta remind myself, or like I'll zone out and just go through the cards and then that's an interesting tree. The priestess, the erudite, the warrior, which is the high priestess, the hermit, and the sun. You see both eyes of the divine, the left and right eyes of God, and then the warrior, who is master of the mystic light. So when the sun, the warrior is because that's the master of the mystic light, when they practice, like they're an active warrior. They're like active, they're doing sun things and not like trying to be a sun, you know? But it was just an interesting trio. Cool. Cool, cool. Yeah, a lot of four of wands. The four of wands is the beginning. So love that for whoever. As I try to remember the cards that I'm looking for. The initiate. It's interesting because the initiate has been the fool for everyone. Um, so before the initiate is the magus, again, the magician. So love that confirmation. The initiate and then the tower. So we see the tower again. There's this through line of the tower, or there's this understanding of the tower. I'm looking for death and oh, that was death. Ah, okay. I mean, I caught it. So before death is the champion, six of wands, and then after death is the journeyman, the eight of pentacles. The eight of pentacles is a card of attaining mastery. This is the adept's last task. After they complete this one, they are granted this living wand. So it's like there are the things that you do within yourself, and then there are ways that you contribute on a greater and greater scale, more connected to the heart of everything. The Ace of Pentacles, Bread of Life. I'll take it. I'll take it. Um, because I had already set it down, and then I was like, oh, that was the card I was looking for. So lastly, and here she is, the Mason, Three of Pentacles, the Empress, and the Dynasty, Ten of Pentacles. So many pentacles for Capricorn, love it. Before the before is the grotesque Five of Cups, Mars and Scorpio after the after. Mars and Scorpio opposing, Moon and Taurus, the giver, Six of Pentacles. Cool. Six of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. Giving as much as you can where you can and allowing for that to be enough. It's still like if your heart is in a place like this, I imagine it's still gonna be difficult or challenging that you like can't help more people or can't do more for people. But it's to take solace and pride in what you can do, you know? And maybe it's to recognize that it's not for us to do everything for everyone or potentially everything for anyone. Because at a certain point, we all have to come into ourselves and whatever like that. So the base deck was the Fable Makers Animated Tarot, which is all about deck dungeon challenges. It's the reason I picked it, the challenge. The three energies that you have, your base number was seven. So 749, 343. 343 is 10. In my brain, 343 was 13 because I had already added the three to the seven of three and four. So I like doubled it up. And I was gonna be like, oh, it's 13 death. It's 10. 49 is the 13. 49 is the 13 of death. Okay, it's still there. All right. My brain had it. I had it, but just not in the right place. Maybe that's resonant. Um, the first energy, the energy of you, is the Ten of Pentacles and the Empress. And I love the Ten of Pentacles and the Empress for you. And I feel like that Empress energy is where this desire to like give and be a benefit and be a pillar in your life, your family, your community, whatever, whatever. In the threads of fate, the Empress is the pillar and the Emperor is the anchor. Yeah. I'm more so reminding myself than telling you. The Empress is the pillar in that deck. And like that's the point of like it's like you receive so much or you're so abundant that it's like you can realize and recognize that you have more than enough. And it's like your heart is exactly the type of heart that the divine loves. Like with that being your energy, fortune and generosity and abundance would love you again because you are someone who shares it. You're not someone who hoards it. And so the energy of abundance doesn't stay around you or within you. And again, because you're like so service minded and service focused, it's it's like again, I don't know, just like it's a win-win-win-win-win for everyone. But again, there are those that may be beyond your purview, your reach. This is actually very interesting. Um, so the energy of the divine around you is the Tower, the Eight of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles. It's interesting because this is eight. Eight plus one is two. But also there's like this ten. I, yeah, you got the magician. Okay. Like Capricorn, you like low key be on something. You low key know something. Like, I don't know if he's a Capricorn, but Sal at Eat, Read, Love. I think it's just Eat, Read, Love. It's not Eat, Read, Love. Never mind. He follows Vedic. And like I've seen him, I don't watch him enough to know what his sign definitely is. But he's someone who I see on here that like gives genuine he's someone on here that I see that I perceive as because y'all know it's a whole bunch of stuff I don't get that's not for me to get into. So I'm just like, oh, like it's true, cool. That's something for somebody. you know? He's someone who I perceive without being super invested or whatever, as like genuinely sharing the things that have helped them be successful. And the reason why I use him, or the reason why he specifically comes to mind as an example, is because there is like knowledge, because the magician is here. Like this isn't necessarily like if you clock in, you're gonna get a paycheck, you know? This is like moving money upstairs. And so that's how abundance finds you down here. Right. Like you got your karmic bank or whatever, and you call your bank of karma and you're like, hey, I need some coins down here. And they're like, okay, we're gonna move some stuff in the system, and then like it's abundance finds you down here. So, you know, it's like, there's a working behind this. Anyway. Hmm. And I say that too because of the bread of life, the darkening. Um, there's some like behind the scenes type whatever. Oh my gosh, is this like the same girl? So like after, because again, the reason why I had already put it down, but the reason why I kept it is because it signifies this like more a master than an adept energy that you sit in Capricorn. And it doesn't mean like you've mastered everything, obviously, but more a master than an adept. The practice that you do is like you're working, you're not training. Or maybe though, take it as it is. But the reason why I took it is because like they have completed this seventh task and have been given access to that, and that's why like now she walks around just oh do 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 like I'm a little salary person clocking in doing my 9 to 5 making my dollars too, you know. But then meanwhile like walking around with all this knowledge, you know what I mean, with all this power, you know what I mean, like that's the vibe. Material and spiritual colliding, oh my gosh, the tower, it's literally that. It's like you can move in the spirits now, or your relationship with the divine is such in some you seek the divine in spirit, the divine moves in the physical. And that's the collision between spiritual and physical. The spiritual aligns the physical. And you're just like, doo-doo-doo, found another penny on the ground. Oh, came across another multi-billion dollar idea. Like oh, just randomly bumped into the group of people who's gonna like create this new upstart startup company, like, and it just happened. Like, but meanwhile, behind the scenes, it's like very like it ain't just happened, bro. And maybe that's like what you want to help. Maybe like the people who filmed The Secret, or the person who wrote The Secret, or all of these people who share what they share. Um, maybe that's their like wanting to give back. Like this is something that worked for me, and I want to share it with as many people as I can because we all deserve to live a life where we can be financially stable and comfortable, or we want, or at least afford our necessities. And then you got the dynasty, Ten of Pentacles. Again, what should be void in this dynasty, something has grown. You do have under the Six of Pentacles the Keeper. And you see the flower, there were three buds. Well, there's the flower that has sprung here, but that's not necessarily. This is like this mystic rose, divine flower, whatever. That's just like not necessarily your specific whatever. One of them has like blossomed here. And it's this thing that blossomed that it's like it corresponds to the center. Because even here, it's almost like because above it, you see these two orbs. This is who? Chakma and Bina, the left eye and the right. Oh my gosh, the left eye and the right eye above the void, and then you have the left and right eye of God and the hermit and the high priestess. But you see these two, and then the void, right? Just like where this flower has blossomed, it's like you see these two orbs up here. Like this is Chakma and Bina up here, and then the which is flower. Cool. Capricorn. Jesus was a Capricorn, right? One of the first people I found when it comes to astrology on YouTube was at the time Shonda Rhimes, and she would say Jesus is Capricorn because Christmas, December 25th is in Capricorn season. Now, of course, we know that like he wasn't necessarily literally born on Christmas. It's like when his birthday is observed. So Jesus could be anything. I'm sure there's some theology scholar who knows the birthday. Anyway, those are these energies over here. The energies between you are on your side, the tower and the five of cups. Almost like lamenting that you can do more for more people. And then on the side of the divine, the magus, the champion, and the mason. The magician, the six of wands, and the three of pentacles. So again, it's almost this energy of like even lamenting what you can't do, focusing on what you can do. And it's like as you focus on what you can do, it makes you an even bigger magnet of like abundance or whatever the thing is. It makes you an even bigger magnet because it's almost like it shows how true your desire is. And the divine knows that if something finds you, it's like you, I don't know, it's almost like there are certified, it's like Uber Eats. It's like Uber Eats or Lyft or Uber. Like anybody can get on Eats, Lyft, Uber. What's the other one? Not Deliveroo. We don't have Deliveroo here. What's the other one? Uh, Dash. There it is. I was like, where is it? Anybody can get on there, but with after you've been there enough, like once you are valid and validated through experience, not validated through some imaginary whatever that you pay money to and boom, yeah. But like people, validated by the ones that you care for and by the ones that you serve, validated by customers, clients, almost a testimonial energy. You connect enough testimonials, then it's like become validated by the divine. The divine can trust that if someone needs something and you are like in the area, just like the map on Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, Deliveroo. Gosh, I forgot it again. Maybe it's like not DoorDash. DoorDash is like, you know, do Uber Eats or Deliveroo. I heard that DoorDash they eat people food. I'm just fine. I'm just fine. Um, it's like because you are on the map in the area, the divine knows that if someone within your district or within your range needs something, it can be given to you and you will give it to them. Type of energy. Like again, that's like the certain like you're a certified delivery, whatever. Jesus was a Capricorn. Certified deliverer of deliverance for all of humanity. And who wasn't afraid to go through the desert 40 days, 40 nights, and who wouldn't have been tempted by some rando that's like, oh, well, if you are who you say you are, then why can't you turn them rocks into bread and eat that? It's not going to fall prey. Certified. Like something about Capricorn is certified. And it's like, again, with this tower over here, it's like the divine has big plans to change things or whatever. And even if you don't specifically, or even if you aren't directly involved with some kind of plan or some kind of change, you're positioned. Again, it was that like you may come across, it was this energy. of like, oh, you just so happen upon this like brand new idea or this group that's going to create like this upstart that's going to be a startup that's going to be this like really huge company. Like you're like positioned maybe to get funding. Isn't like aren't angel investors a thing? I don't know if angel investors are people who like really believe in you and just give you the money and give you free roam. I don't know the technicals of it. I could look it up. You could be like that angel investor, and maybe that's the part that you play. Is like you are the central. It's almost giving me massive conglomerates. It's like the energy of a massive conglomerate, and the fact that it's like an entity or an individual who is invested in multiple things without the like weird monopolistic potentially money part of it. It's just like again because like you're that trusted that the divine knows. Okay, if we give it to Capricorn, Capricorn is going to get it where it needs to go. And again, that's why it's like even that's like your endearing heart. It's like in all that you can do and all that you are doing and all that you're capable of, the fact that like you can be comfortable in knowing that like you're doing all you can or whatever, but still you desire to do more, it makes you like it magnetizes you more. I don't know. And I feel like that's everything, honestly. And I think too, with the Ten of Pentacles and the Empress, again, it's like you you're not the type of person to succumb to greed. I think sometimes it's almost like when we have a certain amount of money, for example, money, it could be anything. But when we have a certain amount of money, when we have a certain amount of influence or a certain amount of power, it's like we want to do good. Like, let's say it's like a mayor or a county, someone who holds a position in the county. But there's almost like this threshold of like, once you make more money than this, or once you have more power than this, it's like that's when the power or the money begins to corrupt. So someone who's like a great mayor may not be the best governor because when they were a mayor, that was enough for them to be below that threshold of wanting to be good. But now that they become governor, it's like, well, now they're doing all kinds of stuff because they're making a power play or planning a presidential campaign. And in order to get investors and backers, they're like going against the very things that they used to stand for. But those are the rules of the game, and you got to play the game if you want to move forward. Or like when it comes to money, like, maybe at a certain level, someone was charitable, but above that, now it's like about getting more and more and more and more money. Again, it's like some kind of greed or some kind of lust that comes into the picture. But for Capricorn, they never change. No matter like it's like they're immune to greed because the more they get, the more they want to give. They already embody the energy of abundance. That's why it finds them so easily. Because Capricorn would never hold or hoard. Capricorn would never stagnate in that. The Tower and the Five of Cups could also be an unfortunate circumstance that keeps Capricorn in the mind of giving or providing or doing. It doesn't have to be, but it could be. And it doesn't even necessarily, because now I'm looking at the Six of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. It doesn't even necessarily have to go to fruition. Like Capricorn could have been in an unfortunate circumstance, but they had help. It's reminding me, I think it's on Scorpion. There's this like lawyer person whose family, like when he was young, his family was going through some kind of trouble or difficulty. And there was a lawyer who basically took the case pro bono or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, as I'm para retelling it because again, I didn't really watch it. But they were in a space of need, and there was a lawyer that helped them out, and because somebody helped him when he was young and impressionable, he wanted to be that for someone else. So, he was in an unfortunate circumstance, but it didn't end tragically. That's what that whole like, it doesn't necessarily have to go to completion. Like, you could have been brought to the brink, but something happened that, like, took you out of it, and because of that, that's what motivates you to go and do the same. And because that motivates, again, there's some purity of heart and intention. You are a certified whatever of whatever that the divine can trust you with whatever the divine is entrusting you with. Divinity in man, powers of spirit. The divinity within you has been recognized. And so you are granted these powers of spirit, spiritual and physical colliding, divinity in man. Cool. And I feel like that's it. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna end this. And then tomorrow, either I'll just do the last two, or we'll do the last two in a collective because these are getting like longer and longer. I'll put this back again. There is no challenge to read, and again, maybe that further clarifies like you've completed all of the challenges and necessary prerequisite, whatever you needed to. That seventh one that you were working on, it's complete. Now you have access to these powers of spirit. So I guess remain pure and incorruptible. Don't lose sight if things for you begin to really pick up. Don't lose sight of your why. Don't allow money, power, greed. Don't allow like a blessing to be the reason why you succumb to whatever, you know? Because it's almost like, if it were like random or if it were hard earned and then you sort of succumb to greed or whatever, it doesn't necessarily make it any better, but something about this feels like a blessing or a miracle or an investment. That's what it's entrance participation fee. I was watching this show yesterday, um, and there was this guy, a child, who lived with his mother because his older brother and father passed away. And so he wanted to take care of his mother. So he hit the books real hard. So hard to the point where he got sick. But anyway, he was enrolled in a cram school when they couldn't afford it. And there was this other guy who they would like compete academically with. And one day he finds out that the other guy had paid off his tuition for the cram school. And he was like, "Why did you do that? Did you feel like sorry for me? I don't need your pity, blah, 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 whatever." And he was like, "I'm going to be moving to your area. So, like, we're going to be going to the same high school. You're someone who I admire that I also compete with." And so for him, it was kind of selfish because he was like, "I don't want you to have to worry about the financial whatever because, like, you're the only person I can compete with. And I admire your dedication and hard work. I didn't want you to have to worry about that." And he was like, "Oh, okay. So you paying off my tuition was the participation fee for me to be involved in this endeavor. It doesn't have to be a competition, but it's like what you're blessed with potentially is your participation fee um, to be the certified. You are certified Uber Eats girl. Maybe you're certified Uber. Before Uber did Uber Eats and people had to deliver or DoorDash. But now Uber's like, well, if we're already driving around, we can go to the store and then bring you whatever too. Anyway, all right, Capricorn. I'm going to timestamp this phone call. I guess I was just saying it would be. I don't know. To me, it would feel very unfortunate if, like, what was a participation fee paid or a blessing or a gift. ended up becoming the source of some kind of like greed or envy or whatever, to be what ends up corrupting someone who could have been certified. You know? But again, with your energy, I don't see that. Final cards. I can't like wait till I'm sure my number one fan is gonna tell me, "Oh, that was so much better with the webcam. Yeah, you need to start using that. Whatever you was doing before." She's still gonna be like, "Oh, you should use my whatever, because with the webcam it was good, but with the ring light, you'd have even better lighting." I shouldn't be too whatever. I don't, it's just like it's it's so much, you know? It's like when it becomes this whole production or whatever, just like I miss the days of 2010 YouTube where every video was bad lighting, bad quality, and a laptop webcam was. But I guess to some people it communicates, like that level of investment communicates something. I am pleased with this though, from what I can see. Thanks again, Rob and Russ, for the gift of these cameras. Oh wait, I'm pretty sure it was Rob and Russ. I think Ring gifted me the microphone. I only used it like a handful of times, and then I was having issues one time, and it requires batteries. I still have it. I'm trying to think if like Rob gifted me the second webcam and tripod. Oh, anyway. It was because someone's believed in me that I can, you know, not completely betray what I have. Daughter of Pentacles. She's so glowy. So yes, we have Pisces and Aquarius. Are Pisces and Aquarius the only two that I still have to do? I think so. 433. Oh my gosh, that's I literally did that math earlier. That's 10. 343. 433. It's the same. You gotta pin this that one. No Aunt Sally's need be excused for that math. That is the communicative property of addition. It may not even be the communicative property. It may be the I think there's the associative property and then the communicative property. Basically, it's the property that like 4 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 4 when it comes to addition. And because that's the case for addition, it also applies to multiplication. 4 times 3 is the same as 3 times 4. It doesn't apply to subtraction or division because 5 minus 3 is very different than 3 minus 5. And 5 divided by 3 is very different than 3 divided by 5. But in addition and multiplication of properties of addition. The communicative property applies to the arithmetic operations of addition and multiplication. It means changing the order or position. So it was the communicative property. I'm proud of myself for that one. I'm very proud of myself for that one because that was a guess. I only remember communicative and associative, and I was like, I'll take my chances with communicative. Communicative property of addition. Can I please just like get the answer? Suppose you have 3 apples and 2 oranges. How do you find the total number? You add 3 and 2 and you get 5. But do you think that we would have gotten a different answer if we had taken the oranges first and then the apples? No, the total number of fruits is still the same, 5. So it doesn't matter if it's 4 plus 3 plus 3 or 3 plus 4 plus 3. Long tangent. But maybe it's like maybe in our lives we need to differentiate different operations. Just because something is true in the field of addition and multiplication doesn't mean that it's true or works the same way in subtraction and division. Because again, 5 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 5, but 5 divided by 3 is not the same as 3 divided by 5. 5 divided by 3 is more than 1. 3 divided by 5 is less than 1. 3 divided by 5 is like 60%. So, I was not very confident. The math is simple, but I was not confident. I was right about the communicative property. I was right about, 60%. I ain't math in a long time. And when I don't math, my confidence in it goes down. So I'm like, I'm not in school. Like, I'm not actively using this information. Oof. That's like asking me what I ate for lunch last Wednesday. It's like, well, I would have been able to tell you on Wednesday after I had eaten lunch what I had for lunch last Wednesday. But asking me a whole week later, your guess is as good as mine. I'm actually going to put all of the other cards away before I get to final cards. So bear with me. Or don't. We still haven't used this deck. Now it's down to Aquarius and Pisces. Is anybody going to have an archetype? If not, that's fine. We don't have to use it. I'm just like at this point more curious and intrigued than anything. I know we've had 3 signs that use the Notoria. We're at 10 signs. I think we've had 3 for the Notoria, 3 for the Fable Makers, and 4 for the Alchemy. Again, that 343. 343 is apparently the number right now. I'm not late because I'm gonna do that when I started. So, starting to get hungry. I'm starting to get a little peckish, if you will. I wonder if they call it like, is it peckish because of how like birds eat, how they like peck at something? And it's like, I'm peckish because I'm not so voraciously hungry that I will fully inhale and devour food. But I could go for a little snack or something. I could nibble on something. I could still. I'm hungry, but not so hungry that I can't remain like dignified and civilized and whatever. Yeah. Oh, I didn't put the book away. I put the wrong book in here. I put the SKT book in here instead of the Notoria book. First, I forgot it. And then I had to put the wrong book away. I guess this is the part of the video where you just watch me do stuff. This is the bottom. This is the top. Oh, a perfect split the first time. Love it. This is the top. And this is the bottom. Who was that? Megan Trainor. Every inch of you is perfect from the bottom to the top, because it's all about that base. My mom always told me what my mom told me. My mom's always told me that life and death are in the power of the tongue. If you have faith the size of a grain of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. She never told me that. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide by or in the shadow of the Almighty. She never said that. I don't know why my brain was like, whatever. Um, But even that can be extrapolated to mean, when you are doing what you're divinely guided to do, what your intuition discernment is guiding you to do, you're going to be provided for, taken care of. I think Capricorn really exemplified that, um, and their certified deliverer status. But even was it Sagittarius? Was it Sagittarius that had the energy of, like, Sagittarius was ordained by the divine, not just gifted, but trusted by the divine. I don't remember. I feel like it was Sagittarius. The coin tomorrow, or I think I'm gonna keep rolling with that. All right, final SKT face down. It is the aim divine higher. Speaking of Sagittarius, maybe it's just like, yeah, it was Sagittarius. Yeah, because the divine higher genius. Maybe it was Sagittarius. But because the initiate, spirit in search of experience. Cool. I feel like I'm more so like leaving these open to interpretation. That's all right. And now the wild unknown tarot. Two of Cups and the Daughter of Pentacles at the cut. That feels like there are things that we want to do slash start, and there are things that the divine wants to do slash start. But in order to do that, death card, some things have to be allowed to come to an end so that other things can be won. All right, final card. Ooh, we got an acrobat. Oh my gosh, it's literally the death card. Literally what I was saying. Bottom deck is the Ace of Wands. The death card is facing away from the Five of Cups and towards the Six of Pentacles. Again, sometimes we have to be comfortable with losing one thing in order to prepare ourselves to receive or welcome another. Um, and sometimes it's a matter of and we can mourn something. We can grieve something and not be consumed by it is okay to honor the things that are past, that have passed away and that are passing away in order to overcome. It's probably more than okay. It's probably like natural. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment. Make all that you're wishing to experience your reality. I hope you need along your path journey any way you find. And until next time, I will see you later.